I mean, so I'm learning that a strong black woman is not for my money. I'm learning that she is more committed to the relationship and the components that make up a good relationship.
And so in the case of 6-year-old blue water lumber, Ralph Angel, I'm singing, you are not the father.
Welcome back to all of our Spot Real Talk family. It's been a little minute. Took a little small hiatus, but as you can see, the whole gang is back together.
Gang is back. We're fired up. We're ready to go. And we're going to do a prequel to, of course, our most favorite podcast, Power, which will start next week, the 25th it is.
Yep.
It is the 25th.
Yeah, we will be going back to talk about our favorite show.
And I can't wait to knock some sense into
Ooh,
a
the
certain
last-
person that
Y'all noticed the last season, so we got to go hard.
Yeah,
We will go hard.
always go hard. Somebody bleeds when we leave this. You know? I'm not going to bleed as much this year, though. I think I got my ducks in a row. Tiffany comes strong, but I got a bat.
Yeah, so make sure y'all are here to tune in next week when we talk about the first episode of Power's final season. But today we're kind of doing like a little chit chat. You know, we love talking about love and current issues going on around the world. And I think that it would be on par for us to talk about, you know, relationships, love. And so one of our topics we have is...
Not single, not married.
Yeah.
And it's a topic that one of my good friends, Yvette, shout out to her. I wanted her to be here today, but she's out of town. And she and I were talking about it, and she was just like, Tiff, I got a great idea for one of your shows about being single but not married.
And that brings to another point. You know, if you have any idea for shows that you'd like us to cover, please, you know what to do. Let us know so we can get on it, because we love you. You are our family, and we want to hear from you.
Yeah, and then a little bit after that conversation, we have been burning up to talk about this situation with Jay-Z and the NFL, you know, Colin Kaepernick. It's like all of this stuff going on with that situation. So make sure you stay tuned in. We're going to talk about our love segment, of course, because you know we love. But we're going to get into the current issues as well. So let's just go ahead and kick it off.
Well, before we do, we'll be right back.
Baby, I know where the last one burnt you. Know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that I
We're back, so let's kick this thing off. Not single, not married. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? Well, let me try to explain it in as few words as possible, because, you know, I got these two women over here, and I got to be careful with what I say. But not single, not married. There are often times when you're in a relationship, you're single, you're not married, but there's ownership. There's so much ownership. I think particularly with women, because you hear from women all the time, that's my man.
There you go.
You know,
We hear from
he's
men too.
And hear
my
from
man.
men too.
Well,
That's my woman.
Personally, I don't hear it as much from the brothers as I do women. Women come strong with it, you know. Y'all will fight to the death
He's a married
about
man.
that
That's
man.
probably why he's not hearing it as much.
Here we go. Let's just keep it real. You all do this, and what does it mean, my man? Where do you see the ownership in a single relationship?
You all do it too.
No, I don't think it's ownership. I think that after you've passed the talking phase or the whatever you want to call it, you move on to a situation where you say, are we exclusive? And that's when it's like, okay, I'm not chit-chatting and entertaining anybody else. You not doing anything else, entertaining chicks or whatever. So that's when we decide that we are going to make this thing official. We're going to be exclusive to one another. And that's when I think the ownership comes in, because it's like this agreement has been made that we're going to be committed to one another and nobody else. So if it happens that, you know, a side chick comes up, because you know, a lot of them are out there, side dudes too, that are happy to play the part.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the issue where it brings up that ownership part, where it's like, okay, you're my girl, you're my guy, like, what are you doing? Why are you entertaining other people?
Which goes to my point. I mean, exclusivity in a relationship, when we talk about being exclusive, well, if you want to be exclusive, get married.
That's
Because
true.
at some point, I mean,
In the eyes of God, that's what he recognizes the
because
marriage.
we play married, and then this is what brings on the animosity, the dangerous relationships that occur, because some people get hurt in these situations, and we try to understand it, but really it was faulty from the very beginning because of what you imposed into that relationship, what you put into it. Now, I'm not saying that you should be able to have 10 girlfriends or 10 boyfriends or 10 men coming to your house at one time. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying understand what single is. Single is single. And if you want something else other than that, get married.
See, it sounds good, when you go to fill out the taxes and they say, are you married or are you single? It's one or the other, whether you got a situationship or not. But in real life, those situationships are real.
Yes.
Like, you can say, I want to get married all day, but I think that it takes a certain amount of time to get to that point. And so that's when you come into these issues where, like, mentally you're committed and you might feel like everything is going well to the point where you might want to get married, but we all know that marriage is also a huge step and you have to make sure that both people are on the same page, and that takes time.
Not only does it take time, it's hard. I can tell you that, and through experience, marriage is something that you have to be committed to. You cannot go into marriage the same way you went into your singlehood, your relationship as a single person. You can't do it. You can't go into a marriage thinking that you love somebody, because you don't know what love is until you've been married. And a lot of times in marriage, I always say you can't be in love until you've gone through some things. And rest assured, if you get married, you will go through some things. It is not a perfect union, but if you understand where you are and why you're there, then I think that's all the better. You can get through marriage. I mean, it's just no reason that you can't. We just can't be so quick to jump out. As a single person, on the other hand, I think what happens, and this leads into the marriage, I may be dating you, and we may have been dating for some time, but because we're in this exclusive relationship, I have fears about leaving. I may not like certain things about you. I may not agree with some of the things that you do, but I stay anyway because, after all, we made a commitment as a single person that, we are exclusive. I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. And then we decide to get married, and next thing you know, a year later, we're in divorce court.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons, is because you committed to something that you necessarily didn't want to have in the first place.
And I think about my own situation because I'm engaged, but I'm not married. So technically, I'm still single.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I have an agreement. Like, this is when you accept a ring from somebody in hopes of getting engaged and married, then you're kind of saying, I'm agreeing to moving forward with what you have proposed. But if I go to fill out my taxes tomorrow and they say, are you married or are you single? They don't have a box that says engaged exactly. Or in a situation. I still got to say single. So I think it's more so about your mentality, because I'm technically single, but I have the mindset of being a married person.
Marriage has a contract.
Okay.
And when you sign that contract,
I feel that.
Once you sign that contract, you're married. But right now,
right now
you're
that's
single.
what I'm saying.
And that was the whole concept when I was speaking to my friend Yvette, and off camera, I was talking to you guys. Situation years ago, a guy is interested in, started off as friends. He had a situation, and I was apprehensive because I'm not advocating for the side chicks, and I wasn't trying to be a side chick. But some of my friends and family members were like, "He's not married. Not engaged, not living with anyone. That is a single man. Shoot your shot." So,
but I think that's the problem, though, because let's say you have this guy or girl, because we know women do it nowadays too, where you're dating around. Basically, you're entertaining this guy. You might be talking on one level. You're talking to this guy, and it might be on another level. But you're not committed to either person. You're just kind of playing the field. And let's say that these guys feel very strongly about you. They might be like, what are you doing with my woman? What are you doing with my girl? And so that's why I'm thinking it's more of an ego thing instead of, actually being committed, because you're still single. You're playing the field. But somebody has chosen to set up shop and say, this is my person. Like, this is who you are to me.
We do that so readily. It's so open. I mean, it doesn't take it. Once you decide, 6 months into the relationship, you're mine.
Well, I guess it just depends on that conversation. Like I said, have y'all chosen to be exclusive? If nobody has said we are exclusive, then you can't make that assumption. But
again, exclusive is marriage. I think if we get that in our heads, then we're good with everything else. Because how am I to know who I want to marry if you and I hooked up for 6 years and then I decide to marry you and then along comes that side chick that fits me better than it fit, than
all right. Look, see, that's ridiculous. That's crazy to me.
Hey, I'm not advocating.
That's ridiculous to me. Okay, because like I said with my situation, been dating for a while, we are engaged, but let's say he's having second thoughts and he's like, well, I'm technically still single. I'm not married. But here we are, I'm engaged to this person, and let's say they say, you know what, before I make this commitment, let me go out here, put my foot back in the water and see if, I'm making the right choice. Now, you don't think that that's leading me on because you've made an agreement that you want to get married, you've given me the ring.
There are court cases.
And let's say you go and step your foot back on court cases. Now I'm gonna feel a way about that.
Right. Now somebody would get hurt. Somebody would get hurt.
I'm gonna hold my tongue to the bachelor party.
Okay.
Bachelor parties, I'm gonna hold my tongue to that.
That's how people get hurt.
But no, I'm not. Here's the point, and I've done that. I mean, I attempted marriage a few times, but they went once they got all lambastic in the head, and that may not be a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. But, once they went, when I saw crazy, you got to go.
You was out the door.
I also had a 48-hour rule, brothers and sisters. 48 hours. You could come to my house up to 48 hours. After 48 hours, whatever you came in with, you leave with. Now, that wasn't just because I wanted to bring somebody else in. It's just because you need to go home, check your parameters, make sure you still have a home, make sure everything's straight at home, and then when we get together, we get together. But living with me at that time was, no, you couldn't do that. Why? Because we're single. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to play house with you.
48 hours. So she can't spend the weekend, is what you're saying?
That's 48 hours.
That's what you're saying.
I hear what you're saying, Ron.
Monday morning.
Friday, Saturday.
No. Friday we go out. Saturday you come in. Okay, you can leave Sunday night. So that's 24 hours.
I think we can't sit up here and act like relationships are that cut and dry. Like it's no this way or that way. There's a huge gray area.
As I joke about, but what I'm saying is, as I joke about it, there's truth in jest in the sense that there is some reality into what I'm saying jokingly, because if you don't control that relationship in some kind of manner, it gets offset. Because two people hardly are ever going to love each other the exact same way. And then what happens? And then a lot of times we feel sorry for the other person, and we go, well, what we do? We stay there because we feel sorry for the person. We don't want to hurt the person.
I don't feel sorry for the person.
Some people do.
Some people do that. They pity them, but
and I'm not talking about relationships where there's inward fighting or there's danger to your health or something. I'm not talking about that. That in and of itself has to be relinquished and quickly. The sooner the better. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about natural.
I feel sorry for you. You're doing more damage by staying with someone who's not
but
being appreciated. They could move on to somebody who can love them the way they deserve to be loved.
But we get married in that same realm, and then later on we realize we married the wrong person.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's part of the process. Why you need to build before you decide to take that step. So I think I think that we need to change the rules. There doesn't need to be a married or a single. And I think that even in certain applications, you feel like you're starting to see that domestic partner box, where it's kind of like, all right, you're not single, but you're not married, but you kind of have this situation. You with someone. And they doing that with everything. They got male, female,
male to male,
non-binary. They doing that with everything now. So why can't we do that with relationships?
Well, the courts do it, because if you are single and you have been living with one another for any length of time, certain states have different jurisdictions on this, but in some states after 6 months,
common law.
It's common law, and even though you bought that house, lady or man, when that other partner feels that it's time to leave and they want something from you, like half, they can get it, because the courts will understand that there's been some input by that other person. He may not have bought the house or put money toward it, but did he or she provide comfort? Did they do something for the house to better the house? And if these things are true, you're going to be selling that house.
Yeah. You know,
And
and
splitting.
I think that that's a big part of too people's fear of marriage and things like that is because it is very much a huge financial part to marriage, and it's like you might want to consider that before you're going into a partnership with somebody and you might want to get to know the person as well because money can motivate a lot of things, and you know how they say sometimes it's cheaper to keep her.
Yes.
Lord.
Yes.
So
indeed.
I think that overall we just need to. I think that the whole conversation of you're single until you're married. I think that that's like a super traditional and an old way of thinking about things because nowadays it's a different world. Back in the early 1900s or whatever, the 40s or 50s,
way back.
way back
Charlotte
then, it was a different world. You couldn't just date. You had to have the intention of being married. You couldn't date for 5-10 years and not be married. That was unheard of.
Well, being a Christian in
Yeah.
certain faiths,
Well,
you gotta date.
Well, that's too.
You definitely gotta date.
But I'm
with,
saying nowadays you're supposed to date with purpose.
With purpose.
But nowadays it's a completely different world,
yeah.
and people date just to have something to do, something to keep them busy. And a lot of people don't even have marriage on the radar.
Nope.
Period.
No.
friends with benefits.
Yes. And so I'm saying the world is
That
a lot
means so
looser.
many things. I mean,
Netflix
friends.
and chill.
Yep.
Netflix and
All
chill.
of that.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. So,
So I think that whatever situation you're in, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're in a situationship, you just have to let that be known and make sure that you and your partner are on the same page. And don't be trying to pull no slick stuff like, I'm not really married. I'm single until I get married, because you might have somebody that you're stringing along that's thinking otherwise.
I always say everybody got somebody.
I always
I don't care
believe
how
that.
single
I
you
believe
tell me
that.
you are. Everybody got somebody.
I do believe that, especially when I meet guys. I always assume there's somebody in the picture. I do, even if he's not living with them or committed or whatever. I believe there's somebody that he can pick up the phone and call for a booty call or whatever. I always believe that, and I act accordingly unless you tell me otherwise.
Male, female,
I think that's a safe assumption.
Like, look, you need to let me know what your status is. Otherwise,
You
I
gotta
don't
protect
know.
yourself.
I don't know until you tell me.
Yeah, because you can't just assume that people, like, who's really truly single these days? Like, just not entertaining nobody, that's truly focused on
hermit.
themselves.
A hermit, somebody who just sits in
No.
all day long.
And if not, then they online chatting
You got
on
somebody.
Tinder,
Right.
Some folks have families, babies.
on Bumble, on
yeah.
Tinder, on all them little apps,
Too many apps.
trying to
But
find
they-
somebody to
Right.
entertain or to entertain them.
Okay, so we're going to flip the script a little bit right now. And we're going to talk about Jay-Z and his new position with the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, this has spawned a lot of conversation on social media and even in our little group here. You know, because
Yes.
Tiffany and I are always on
The
different
opposite ends of the
opposite ends
spectrum.
of the spectrum. I don't know why she doesn't come over to me, but you know.
No, I agree with some of the things that you guys had to say. You guys made valid points, and I'm waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, so let's get into it.
Yep.
So what do you think about the new transition with the NFL and Jay-Z?
I feel a way. I feel a way about it. I mean, I know that we need to have a seat at the table, and that's great. But I feel a way that Colin Kaepernick is still out of work. And those of you who don't know, I'm a avid sports fan, huge sports fan. I boycotted the NFL. I didn't watch the NFL last year, part of the year before and everything, because Cap didn't have a job. Now, with Jay-Z's new position, and I hear he's going to be a part owner too, I am really hoping that there will be an opportunity for him to get Cap a job, or at least give him a tryout or something. But I was feeling like the NFL was being let off the hook and kind of using Jay-Z to, pay lip service to the social justice thing. It remains to be seen, because Jay-Z has done some great things for social justice. He has, and I am a fan of both Jay-Z and Beyonce, so I should put that out there. But I was just apprehensive when I heard about this, so I'll say that.
But Jay-Z, or rather Kaepernick, would still be out of work whether Jay-Z was involved with the NFL or not. So we can't put that on Jay-Z's shoulder.
That's not Jay-Z's fault, right?
No, it's not his fault. Nor can we put it on his shoulder or say that because he now joined the NFL that the NFL was going to have a change of heart with Kaepernick. They're not. So there has to be some sort of medium, if you will.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
why couldn't it be?
But the point is, when you say you feel a way about it, your feelings are based on what you see on the surface and not necessarily what is hopeful. So I personally,
I said I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, but we had a conversation before, and I had to whip some thought into you. But
Actually, you did. Actually, you did not, and you had not changed my mind.
You don't want to give me any prompts over.
Actually, you did not.
That's cool. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about
Get out of here. Yeah, please lay it online so I can check you real quick.
Jay-Z being having the role of entertainment, taking over the halftime show. That's a huge thing for the NFL. It's money making for the NFL all the way around. Jay-Z being at the table and not being a dummy.
Not to say he's still a dummy, but because you just mentioned that, and that's kind of where I cut in. I was like, hold up, I'm not trying to suggest that Jay-Z's a dummy.
No, he's not by any means. And so I think with his being having ownership and his having that kind of control, that's giving away a big chunk of what the NFL had to hold. The NFL, you're going to always have racist owners. They're not going to change just because Jay-Z is there.
Right.
But what Jay-Z, look what he has done socially over the years. So this is just another platform for him, as I see it. So he can do just as much in this platform as he's done in others, and we can name them all down the list. So no, I don't feel any certain way. Now I will say this: if you took this platform, and I don't believe you did, but if you took this platform just to have something, just to do something in the NFL, that could backfire in many, many ways for you. Because this is a very touchy subject. Kaepernick is going to be a very touchy subject. And I personally don't know if I were Kaepernick, I don't know if I would want to play after 3 years. Because he's not going to play this year. So now we're talking about 4 years in the NFL before he could do anything. And
we don't know that. We don't know that he
No, we don't know. But what I'm saying is, if he doesn't play this year, what then? I mean, your skill sets do decline because every year you got a faster, bigger, stronger quarterback coming into the league, and so he's 3-4 years out. Look at Vic. Vic didn't last long when he came back. He had a chance. He had a chance,
but he had a chance, and that's my thing. That's my issue. The fact that he has been blackballed for a silent protest, a silent, peaceful protest. He has not been able to work.
And meanwhile, there are players that have done far worse.
Okay. I have an issue with that, and I just feel like we'll see what Jay-Z does with this opportunity. But when he was like, we're past kneeling and it's on to actionable items, I agree with that. But I really hope that there's an opportunity now that he's going to have an ownership stake in one of the teams. I'm hoping that he will allow opportunity or a tryout for Cap.
That's what I was going to say, because there was so much chatter online, a lot of uproar. People were upset,
including myself.
And there was initially it was about the conversation that Jay-Z was having with Robert Goodell, and they were having that conversation, and Jay-Z was talking about doing the halftime show, but then 1 or 2 days later, it was announced that he would have part ownership, and a lot of the outrage started shifting to like, okay, maybe he's trying to do this the right way, and that's what I really hate about our culture in particular, because they were so ready to cancel Jay-Z. And I'm like, y'all can't go off of cancel culture. You can't just jump the gun and say, nah, he's doing this for money, he's a sellout, he's this, he's that, when Jay-Z has done nothing but support the community, bailing out fathers on Father's Day, making the Khalif Browder story, doing the Trayvon Martin documentary, paying for lawyers for all of these injustices that have been done by the police around the nation, bailing out protesters in Ferguson. Like, Jay-Z has shown us that he's down for the cause.
Yeah, and both he and Meek Mill have put money together for the prison
money behind
reform.
Meek
Yeah,
Mill.
but they both came together to do the prison reform too. So I I get that. I support all of that. I'm not trying to take any of that away from Jay-Z.
And that's what I'm just saying. People online, and I'm like, you're not looking at this with rationale. Like, Jay-Z is a smart businessman. Like, yes, it's good for the business, and yes, he can get in there and do the halftime show, whatever. But once it got announced that he would also have a seat at the table, part ownership, then that changes the game, because not only is he doing something about the social injustices, he's also able to be in those rooms with those owners that make those decisions. And who knows if he's able to get Colin Kaepernick back in the league. Like, maybe that is the person that we need in there to advocate for him. And now that he has part ownership, he can have real say.
And it's very possible that once this does happen, or it comes into fruition, Kaepernick may want a different position now. He may want to be within the league's decision-making area, and certainly Jay-Z would have that ability to bring him in.
I hope
So there's so much that can happen from this. But I get sick and tired of the naysayers just on the surface of what they see things. We were talking about playing chess upstairs. You don't give away your hand. So no, I'm not going to spell out everything I'm doing. I'm going to make my move, you make your move, and it's going to be checkmate. So I'm sure he has a whole arsenal of things that he can think about that he'll probably introduce as time goes forward that will benefit us, that will benefit players like Kaepernick. I don't see this happening again. And if it does happen again, he'll have a platform that can bring this kid inside and say, you're free here.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. I mean, we were talking offline about Jamel Hill's article. Jay-Z helped the NFL banish Colin Kaepernick, and I know you were incensed.
Jamel Hill, girl, I like you as a person, but that title is clickbait. Because Jay-Z helps NFL banish Colin Kaepernick. Like, Colin Kaepernick wasn't already banished before Jay-Z was even part of the conversation. So I don't know. I don't like that title already from the jump.
And while you made interesting points, positive points about Jay-Z's new contractual relationship with the NFL, but then you turn right around and you painted this dull picture of what you think is going to happen because Jay-Z, well, in other words, in another word, you said he's a sellout. And I just don't.
She said she didn't think he was a sellout, and
but
she
you
also
said, okay. You use.
She kind of set the tone, though.
You set the tone of his selling out, even though you didn't use the word.
She said Jay-Z isn't getting enough out of the deal to justify the sacrifice of some of his credibility. Well, she said this alliance plays right into the NFL's hands because the league seems determined to banish any memory of Kaepernick with his recent.
But give me what you think he should have gotten out of that deal. What did you say in your article that would have been more pleasing, a deal, when you don't even know the deal he really has yet? You don't know. We don't know. Your article came out, what?
Let's see.
The same day that the conference happened.
I think it probably did was the same day. Let me see.
Before Jay-Z had announced his partnership,
because that came out the next day. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm like, girl, pick your face up off the floor.
Exactly. I mean, so we don't know. Hey, I know you're a writer. You want your articles read. Hey, kudos, got you there. But come on now, because we got people that's gonna hang on your every word, and I don't think you've given it enough muster to understand what could come from this.
But we're gonna see.
Well, we're gonna see.
It's still early yet, so we're gonna see what really happens.
And with your eye on the mark, Jay-Z has to come back being another freedom fighter. Yeah. He's been that, and so I look for him to continue that.
And I can't see Jay-Z letting himself go down as looking bad and letting him look like the NFL played him. He's already spoke so much against the NFL, advocating for certain artists not to do the Super Bowl. In his record saying, I said no to the Super Bowl. You need me, I don't need you. Like,
and to her credit, Jamel mentions all of that.
Yeah.
She talks about
not
the
going to let himself look bad.
Yeah, but my point is, you mention it, but then you throw a little, it's have a stance.
She has a stance. Her stance is clear.
Was
her
it?
Stance, she didn't disagree, but she didn't discount his previous.
Exactly.
She knows. That's what she said. She said, "I'm not saying he's a sellout, but she just was feeling like the NFL is getting more than what Jay-Z is getting. But that was, again, like you said, before we found out that he also has a stake.
But the NFL is its own conglomerate. Jay-Z is coming into that. What were they supposed to do? Give him half ownership of all the 32 teams? I mean, what are you asking for? That's not what she said.
The thing is, he was. I'm asking you. He was very critical of the fact that the NFL
and he should have been
banished Kaepernick.
And he should have been.
Now he's doing a deal with the league who banished Kaepernick.
Why not grow? Why not grow into this? Why not be able to make changes into a very corrupt system? Right. Who else is going to make the change?
Well, we just hope that part of this deal, now that he is part owner, will allow for an opportunity for Kaepernick.
Well, that's all we can do is hope.
And I'm pretty sure Jay-Z feels the same way. Like, he's been in touch with Kaepernick. They've had conversations. And I'm sure after this deal,
it wasn't a good one.
But, it might not have been. I mean, that's probably because Kaepernick had no advance notice that this was going to happen. Not that Jay-Z was obligated to do that. But I think a heads up probably would have been nice. But, at the same time, I think that Jay-Z is being strategic. I think he has a plan, and I think he has a plan with Kaepernick in mind, whether it's going back into the league or having some greater role in the league.
Right. I agree with 100%.
So, I don't know. Overall, I just hate the cancel culture of online. I think, social media has given a lot of people voices that do not need them.
That's true.
So, yeah, that's true. Cut it out.
The keyboard gangsters, as he calls them.
Yes. And just wait before you so quick to throw somebody under the bus. Wait until you have all the facts. That's all you can do. And articles like that kind of piss me off because it's like you're jumping to so many conclusions without having any facts. So we don't know nothing of the details.
Left and right. While the one time you're saying that there's a problem, you have a problem. The other point, you point out the good, and then I'm confused. It's like a roller coaster. I'm up and down with your article. So. Let's just keep it what it is. Let's keep it.
Not even to go hard against Jamel Hill because she's a very established writer. She's big in the sports world.
ESPN.
And I'm not discounting her work at all either. But that article kind of rubbed me the wrong way, just as all the people chattering online rubbed me the wrong way because you don't have enough facts to make a conclusion. So instead of going off, wait. Just you don't always have to be the first to get the hot story out there. It's better to be correct than to be loud and wrong.
And I can understand having to be the first to get the hot story. I mean, that's the world we live in journalism. You need to be first.
I think part of it is their support of Cap, and that just being infuriated about the fact. Because even if it wasn't Cap, if it was, I told you, if it was Joe Mo on the street, I would have an issue with the fact that this person who did nothing but protest police brutality and injustice is out of work.
Yeah, and I
would
agree.
have felt better had she spoke about the league is 70% black. Now, what would have happened if 70% of the league decided not to play? What would have happened? And then because they're not playing, we wouldn't be watching. So there's a huge revenue that could have been missed from this.
They should have done that.
So, but they didn't.
They didn't.
So while we're looking for a godsend, let's not discount the fact that Jay-Z, from a social standpoint, has done a lot. He's done many things. You alluded to them, and let's hope and continue to believe that he's going to continue that.
Yeah, and that was my thing. It was so crazy because I'm like, you are really Jay-Z is huge in our culture. He's probably made it bigger than anybody else in our culture. And you think that he's going to work his way this high to the top to sell out? No. And the thing is, you're pissed off with him, but not all the other players who continue to play, who didn't take a social stance. They could have kneeled right there.
I'm pissed with them. Well, some of them did. Some of them did kneel.
Well, very few.
Very few. Some of them did. I know the Eagles.
But I'm like,
my team represented. My team represented.
But that's what I'm saying. How does that rationale make sense that somebody who's actually going in to try to make change, you're mad at him, but not the people who are complicit?
Yeah, they're complicit too. Well, one of the things that other people are arguing about online, they kind of came at Cap too, because they said, well, Cap and Eric Reed took a settlement with the league, but I feel like this. He hadn't played in 3 years. They owed him compensation.
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, that was compensation.
No, exactly. Yeah. You don't let that go.
Yeah, but some people were saying that it was hypocritical of Eric Reed and Kaepernick to be mad at the Jay-Z situation because they said Well, he took a settlement. He settled with the league.
No, he was
No.
owed that
But he was owed that money.
No,
so that's why I
right.
said I don't
Those
agree
two
with that
things
argument
don't
at
gel.
all.
No, they don't gel at all. I don't agree with that. No.
But yeah, I mean, I really do hope Kaepernick, I hope his situation works out. I mean, I'm trying to think of this from his perspective, and I know he has a big passion for the game, and I know he really wants to go back and play. But at the same time, like, after this league has showed you who they are, like, why do you want to
Believe
even
them.
go back and get in bed with them?
I think it's just about
As far
his
as
love of the
Kaepernick-
game. I think
No,
that's
and I think with what has happened to him, he'd be far better served if he came into the league and had some sort of decision making as to what goes on. I think he'd be far better served than being back on the gridiron. It's look, I'm not discounting his game. He was great. But
he
like
went
I
to the
said,
Super Bowl in 2013. He led
Exactly.
his team to the Super Bowl in
But
2013.
Like I said, this game moves forward and it moves quickly and things change. Let's make sure that there are no more Kaepernicks in the NFL.
I agree.
Let's make sure. Let's put together our resources and let's put together our heads and our hearts to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Because you're always going to have racist NFL owners. You're always going to have racist advertisers. This world isn't changing. So it's going to take a grassroots effort along with those folk that got money. We all got to come together and make this thing happen. Because if we don't, we'll be right back here some other time talking about the same thing.
Exactly.
Wondering who's going to do what.
And
Jay-Z is in position to do something. Let's give him the mantle and see what happens.
I agree. And I think that just stop being so hypocritical, like being overly critical of people. I think that was my main takeaway. Just hoping that people will learn to wait before they speak. And in Colin Kaepernick's situation, I think that regardless of whether he goes back to the league or not, he has already made a name for himself. He will be in the history books. He will go down as like one of the great players that really took a stand for social injustice. And I think that his message, if they didn't understand it at first, and although they tried to make it about the flag and patriotism and all this other stuff, I think that the issue that he was protesting has been heard loud and clear, and everybody knows what his initial protest was about. So I think that he's fine whether he's back in the NFL or not.
Right.
There is no patriotism if we can condemn one man for his beliefs.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And like you said, we want to make sure that there are no more Kaepernicks, but I want to make sure that the Colin Kaepernick has a shot. I want him to have an opportunity.
That would be a nice
to get back
ending.
in the league.
That would be a nice happy ending. And we can, and let's see. But what are we willing to do if he's not? See, that's where the plan
That's the
has
thing.
to
Well,
come.
because
I did my part.
but that's how many people was over there taking sneak peeks at the TV and flipping the channel back. Let me just catch a few minutes of it. Like, if y'all say y'all gonna boycott something, you gotta go hard and boycott.
I didn't watch.
I know some people that was like, I ain't gonna watch the season, but I might catch a highlight here or there, or I might just watch, the second half of the Super Bowl. Like, no, it don't work like that. If you really are trying to make change, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Because that's where you get into the situation where these owners and these people that make the decisions are still getting revenue, they're still getting advertising, they're still getting the numbers from your partial viewership.
And if you don't like what's going on, we are the ones that hold the key, not them.
Right.
We give them too much power.
Hit them in the pocket.
It is the only thing that matters, is what goes in their pockets. We are the ones that are putting all that in their pockets. We are the ones that can stop all this craziness from going on. So let's just stop it. Is it going to hurt you to not see football for a year? Possibly. But you know what? You'll get over it.
Yep.
And guess who won't get over it? The NFL.
And you know
They
what?
can't afford it.
The players. Anybody that plays for the NFL currently, anybody that has their name on anybody's roster, they need to grow a pair and really
Maybe 2 pair. I don't know.
They need to do something because their silence is showing that they're complicit. Yeah. And so I'm saying, like, unity is really what we need. They need solidarity, and if they say if one of us is going to get blackballed for speaking out on a cause that actually matters,
But the ball players
well, the
have to-
Eagles did.
then we all got to.
But the ball players have to
Aaron, even
But it can't just be one and
No,
two.
it can't.
Aaron Rodgers
Right,
did.
right.
I know it should be.
It gotta
should
be a
collective.
whole
Here's the
team.
thing.
It should
the
be.
ball players have to understand that we have their backs. Because if 70% of those ball players walk and we do our job and not watch, then they're fine. Their jobs are fine. Okay, but we can't let them go out and then we sit around and act like, oh, okay, they're gone. Let's see what the second and third string are going to do this year. No. You take your stand. We're right behind you.
And guess what? If the NFL, they can't do nothing without you, so that you literally have nothing to lose.
And they damn sure can't do anything without us.
Yeah, I mean, because without players, there's no NFL. So if all
And
of you
without-
guys would
Especially
be
the brothers.
solid, exactly.
Well,
show some
See the
unity.
brothers.
And without us, who watch faithfully, who put decals on our cars of our favorite teams, and I don't know why we do that, because I don't get a dime from that advertisement. But you got to understand what you're doing with everything you do. You're wearing the jerseys. You got the decals on your car. That's advertising, folks.
Free advertising.
Free. You're giving the shop to them. You are what make them do what they do, because they know you don't care.
Yep. So,
That's my rant. I'm done.
any other points y'all want to add on to this?
No, I said my piece. I read the part about Jamel, and yeah, I said my piece.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just want to continue to watch and see this situation play out.
Me too.
Hopefully it works out for the best for everybody involved. And, I'm still Team Jay-Z. I'm still Team Colin Kaepernick. I hope the NFL really uses this whole situation to make positive change, to get Colin Kaepernick back involved in some kind of way.
Yes.
Because I don't think he deserves what he's been getting.
No.
So,
We agree.
let us know what you think in the comments as well, because I'm sure that y'all gonna have a lot of opinions, and
I'm sure.
just don't go too hard on us. We have some strong opinions too.
Yeah, but
Yes, we do.
Everything. We love every opinion, every comment you have.
The good, the
because
bad, the
That's
ugly.
really what it's all about here. So, it's what makes the spot real talk. Real talk.
Yeah. And so just make sure that you guys stick with us. We have a lot of good stuff in store for the future. Like I said, our favorite show comes back next week, Power.
And I can't wait
Ooh, it's going to
get
be
in
good.
on that.
Now, if you think they was going at it today,
Yeah.
let's wait until next week.
Yeah, on Twitter they've been asking people to pick sides, Team Ghost or Team Tommy. So
Well, before let's can we get some early predictions in, because last season left off where Tommy shot at Ghost.
yeah,
And that's
why
major.
and that's why they're asking on Twitter. They're like, this time is war, so they're asking people specifically to take sides. That Team
And
Ghost or Team
somebody got to
Tommy.
die. One of them two are going to die.
I agree. Tariq tweeted something. He tweeted that he was Team Ghost and said, which side are you on? And I said, how are you Team Ghost? I responded back to him. I mean, I didn't hear anything back from him, but I'm like, how are you Team Ghost?
Well, I mean, father and son can have a
Yeah,
lot
but
of disagreements.
those previews don't look like he's Team Ghost.
Yeah.
Well,
And the way Tariq was cutting up last season, don't look like
Yeah.
him and Ghost was going to reconcile anytime soon.
I don't know. I've gotten so accustomed. I don't want to take sides.
I know. I don't really
I really
want to
don't.
take sides
I know.
either.
I know that either Ghost or Tom, one of them has to die because it's the final season. It's like
Yeah.
something major has to happen. But I'm caught up. I know
think-
we gave Ghost a live flag, but I still,
Okay.
I have a soft spot for him. But Tommy's my guy.
So
I like Tommy.
So let me take it
I don't
back.
want Ghost to die either,
Well, let me take it back. So
but I like
this
Tommy.
is the final season, they both have to die.
Well,
Maybe.
I always
Maybe.
said that. I said I feel like there's not going to be a happy ending. That I feel like Ghost is going to die.
I feel better if they both died than one
Yeah.
over the other.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They both
I
gotta
feel like
go.
Tariq might be involved. Tariq might kill his own dad. I don't trust Tariq.
Now, what about Dre? What you think he gonna do?
I hope Drake goes first episode.
Dre, it's not gonna be the first episode.
I
There's
know
some
it's not,
stuff.
but
It's
I
some
like
stuff
it.
going on
I
with
can
Dre.
lose Dre.
I saw a preview and it looked like Ghost was running up on Dre. Then I saw Dre walking with a knife. So I'm just like, it's something. And then what's it called? Like he was trying to turn Dre.
Councilman Tate?
No, Sax.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
like, help me get Ghost.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have that pressure too.
Yeah.
but
Well,
I
what
like
about Tate though? He's
said he-
still sneaky on the.
He said
down
he's
low
jumping
with
ship. He was like, I'm not, your ship is going down. I'm not going down with
Oh.
you. That's what he told Ghost.
It-
So we'll see.
And then we got Proctor still caught up with them too. I think Proctor gonna die.
He might. Because
I
when they
think
find out
Proctor
he
died.
kept that laptop, I'm like,
Either he's gonna die or he's gonna do some time.
He gonna
some
snitch.
Serious time.
I said he leaning towards being a snitch.
He's leaning towards being a snitch. What about Tasha?
Tasha, I hope Tasha gets a good love interest this season because they've been setting her up.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Her love interest is Ghost.
Well, I don't see them getting.
No, she said I've lost everything because of you. In the previews, that's what she said. So I'm like, she
has some culpability with that, and we know it. So Tasha, get a grip.
She does too, but you know it's your boy's fault.
No.
Y'all know who else I think gonna die?
The fight's gonna start before the show.
Keisha.
I think Keisha gonna die too.
Yeah, Keisha kind of went in too strong here. I mean, she
too
doesn't know
green.
who she's playing
Yeah, she too.
with.
Yeah, she in over her head.
ready.
I think she might die
doesn't know
too.
who she's playing with. You know, you coming in.
I think so too. It's about to be a war for real.
Yeah.
Now you just mentioned Angela. We know she always finds a way to get off the hook. For some reason, I see her
She's a favorite.
on a private island somewhere at the end of this. She done jump town.
She might be on there with ghosts.
I could just see Angela skipping town,
She
leaving
might.
everybody behind.
Them going off in the sunset, and I'd be so pissed.
I would love to do that show.
Oh my gosh! I was like, ugh.
Oh, I cannot wait. And you know, this season is supposed to be longer than usual.
Oh yeah, I think it's supposed to be 15 episodes instead of 10.
So we got a long little
We got a
ride.
good
Yeah, we got. Yep.
We got a good.
Ooh, my adrenaline's already.
I know, me too.
Just talking about it.
Well, you know it's next week, so stay with us, stay tuned, and let us bring you power in ways that you'll never hear it expressed before.
Exactly. Yes, make sure y'all come back. Follow us online. We are at the Spot Real Talk on Instagram, on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and also click the bell sign so that you can get notifications, because once we start going and picking up steam, you're not going to want to miss out.
Right.
Not a minute.
All right. Well, until next week, we'll see you, and make sure, like I said, you subscribe and keep up with us, and we'll be back to provide you with all the power content that you can handle.
Peace.
Goodbye.